Hey, what's up, you guys? I just wanted to get on here and do kind of like a review, I guess you could say, and kind of share my views on price action and what's kind of led us to where we're currently at in price. And then of course I want to go over a couple other things like market structure and stuff like that. So yeah, with that being said, let's get started. So to start, let's look at the DXY. What we see on the DXY here is, price ran this high up here, created a breaker, right? For those of you that understand what a breaker is, right? It's a high, a low, and then a high that gets broken, and then aggressively sells off and breaks the low that started the run higher, okay? So yeah, when this occurred, right, price sold off a little bit. Some people probably saw this as a shift in market structure or this as a shift in market structure, which it was temporarily. But I wouldn't have seen price as bearish until it ended up getting down below here, okay? Or at least longer term bearish, so. But yeah, as you can see, I have the premium and discount areas marked off from this low to this high because that was our current range we were trading in, okay? And then price sold off. What did it do? It basically came into this weekly fair value gap, and it filled the whole fair value gap, as you can see, to the point, okay? And then we ended up accelerating higher, shifting market structure here, which then led us to these higher prices. Okay, we do have a fair value gap in here and an order block, which we'll be monitoring, but at the current moment, I'm seeing price get above this high as well, right? Because it doesn't look like we're slowing down anytime soon. Price is at a premium now. So if it does sell, I'd like to see a swing low created, and then I want to see that swing low get broken if I'm going to, have any considerations of being overall bearish on the DXY. Okay, so that being said, all right, let me show you the weekly fair value gap right here as well that we push down into. All right, so on this weekly chart, you can see there's no bearishness or bearish ideas long term, right? Or any shift or change in market structure. It's just a retracement that came back into this weekly fair value gap, right? And then now it's accelerating. Let's go to the monthly so we can kind of see what we have. Right, price ran through these highs. That's what instigated this sell-off, right, a bit. There's also a monthly fair value gap in here that we could eventually use. But at this moment, there's no reason to think bearishness at all. Okay, so that sell-off was just short term. So yeah, we're back in sync with the bullishness. Okay, so going back to the daily chart, as you can see, I had this outlined as a potential market maker sell model because this was a consolidation. When price accelerated higher, ran through this high and broke through this low, that could, like I said, been a breaker, right? We also had this fair value gap in alignment with this last down candle, okay, which is basically how you look at a breaker, right? It did present some opportunities to sell here, which was bullish with the short-term, bullish price action and the indices and, and currencies a bit. But that was, short-lived, okay? All it did was, break this low, short-term shift in market structure came down to fill in this weekly fair value gap. And then price accelerated with energy, breaking this high after it took sell side liquidity, all within a discount within the range that we were in from this low to this high. And then, it just filled that, and then it broke this high here, showed one more reaction lower into this order block, and then it ended up just accelerating with some of the news events this week that were the catalyst, of this higher price run. Okay, but yeah, so that's kind of my analysis on DXY and what I've seen. I did basically tell my mentorship that this fair value gap was what we were looking at. And then, since price was a little bit of, had a little bit of slowness in here, kind of choppiness back and forth, and it was at the midpoint of equilibrium, we were waiting for something like this to give us more confidence in an overall bias and to know that, we're not actually going to continue going lower, right? So once this high was broken, I was kind of leaning towards more bullish. And then as we broke again and then gave this, this move pushing into this week, we're now solidified as, still bullish. Okay. And like I said, I'd like to see a swing low created, maybe a failure swing here, and then a swing low, right? A fractal swing low created. And then I want to see that broken if I'm going to even consider thinking any type of longer term bearishness. Okay. But at the moment, like I said, I'm bullish on DXY, right? And of course, bearish in these other assets that are related to, DXY, right? Or reverse correlated, I mean, right? But yeah, so if you guys have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Then I can, make a specific video touching on, whatever your guys' confusions are or wherever your difficulties are at. Okay. Scrubbing forward. Okay. We'll be breaking down Nasdaq and the current price action what we've seen the past couple of weeks. Right. So right away, you can see how when price came down below here, price ended up running above this high. Okay. That was a short-term shift in market structure, just like we saw on the DXY. Okay. But as you can see, after, that occurred, price ended up kind of consolidating. My mentorship also heard from me and the analysis that I had that this fair value gap would be reached into. So at the start of last week, bearishness was, it was the bias short term. We do see a consolidation here, which could have led us to believe that there was a possible market maker buy model. But of course, as you can see, this swing low got broken, and now we're taking, we're putting pressure on any buyers, right, and taking them all out that thought this was a bullish, potential bullish run, which is reasonable to have expected, right? But just like on DXY, how we went to the weekly, let's actually go to the weekly on Nasdaq. Okay, so this run higher after it took out the sell side liquidity. Of course, you could have had short-term bullish bias, right, and you could have been profitable. There's no wrong or right as long as you're profitable. Okay, and you get the direction right on whatever day you're trading. Of course, bias is important. You want to be on the right side. You don't want to swim against the tide, but at the same time, bias, you guys will eventually learn that bias doesn't really matter. As long as you understand what you're looking for and understand liquidity, you always have some type of things to trade on, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish, or even in a consolidation like we have been in, right? But yeah, like I said, after the sell side liquidity got taken, we can also see there is an order block here on this weekly chart that also instigated a possible retracement or just a bounce in general. Price did end up going bullish, but all it did was come and fill in this fair value gap here, okay, on this weekly chart. And now, as you can see, we're continuing lower, right? So this is showing nothing bullish about anything, okay? If something like this occurred, right, that could have been a reasonable anticipation for a shift in market structure. But obviously that didn't happen, right? We're just continuing to fall lower. And there's, lots of areas that it could reach into that has liquidity, like these lows, the relative equal lows here, equal lows right there. We got, this order block, if it can break through that, that's definitely going to be another reason why we could see further lower prices, but that's far away. So, we're going to take the market as it is, right? But yeah, so with that being said, right, one thing I want you guys to focus on right here that could have given you guys a x-ray view of what was potentially going to come from, you see this high here and this high is higher than this high, right? So let's scrub over to the other indices. What do you see here, right? This high is higher than this high. So this is a lower high. So that would mean this is S&T divergence. There's also at this order block. So a good thing about S&T, right, that people need to realize, S&T divergence is a great strength and weakness indicator, I guess you could say. And it's also a great indicator to validate a level. Like, was this order block going to hold? Well, we could have used S&T divergence here to assist us in our confidence, right? That level was going to hold. And, you know, as you can see here, right, it's pretty much, you know, following suit. But of course, it would have been logical for you to think that, okay, this is a shift in market structure after sell side liquidity was taken, right? That would have been a correct analysis. But if you missed this S&T divergence, this whole sell-off was probably confusing to you, okay? So yeah, it's a very important thing about S&T divergence, all right? Moving back to Nasdaq, okay, we, you know, when price broke down below here, of course, there's this fair value gap and this one as well, plus this order block. As you can see, none of that's being respected. So that's even further, you know, amplification on the fact that we will see potentially lower prices attacking this low as the next draw on liquidity, right? You know, we close over here or whatever, and it doesn't run this, but it leaves these two fair value gaps. Next week, Sunday and Monday, you know, potentially into Tuesday, we could reasonably expect the next bullish daily candle to come back and rebalance, because price, you know, like I said in, you know, one of my bias explanations, price is only doing one of three things. It's either consolidating, or it's, you know, chasing some form of liquidity in the form of equal highs, equal lows, or single highs, single lows, or it's going to create an imbalance or rebalance an imbalance. At the moment, it's creating an imbalance and potentially attacking the sell side liquidity. Okay, but if it closes here, our next, you know, potential move would be to come back and rebalance and offer premium prices to smart money that would want to sell and attack these lows. Okay, so I hope that made sense, because, you know, that's a very it's very important. Okay, moving forward, right, let's go to the 1 hour chart and get into kind of what I wanted to make this whole lesson about. Right, I'm not going to talk about any entries or anything like that in this video, but I'm gonna basically talk about overall price action and how you could have anticipated this potentially occurring, this sell-off, right? Because that's what's important, right? Understanding where price is going to go, and how you're analyzing things to make that, you know, make that assumption clear to you. Okay, so let's actually throw the annotations on the chart. So here you can see how I have that weekly fair value gap marked that we were looking at, that I kind of pulled your guys' attention to. And you can also see here that there was S&T divergence that occurred. Okay, this high got broken, right, creating this as a long-term high. When this high was formed, this began or became a long-term high. Okay, because there's a lower high to the left and a lower high to the right. Right, that right here would have been a long-term high. Right, price came down, broke lower, and it came back to fill in this 4 hour fair value gap, which I will take you guys to see also. When it created this fair value gap and price failed to get above that, that's important. Okay, even though we're in a consolidation, that is very important, right? That's showing that, you know, one, there's S&T divergence. We're in a weekly fair value gap, and price is failing to get above that high. So, you know, so that this became a long-term high. And if you guys haven't watched ICT's market structure video that he made, you know, pretty recently, in the past couple months, in the 2022 content that he's made, I highly suggest you go and re-watch that, because it is vitally important. You know what I mean? Like, you could have anticipated all of this price action occurring if you understood, you know, what he explains in you know, that section of his videos this year. Okay, but with that being said, excuse me, I'm not really feeling too good, but yeah, freaking throat's all messed up. But yeah, so moving along, right, as you can see, when this high was created and it filled in this 4 hour fair value gap, after this long-term high was created, while there was also S&T divergence, right, when price broke through here, that's a shift in market structure. Okay, when price came up higher and then shifted here again, that's a shift in market structure. It created a fair value gap here, came back, created another short-term or another lower high here, right? So this became an intermediate term high in this area, right? This was a long-term high. Okay, this created another intermediate term high because it was attacking this fair value gap, but it, you know, pushed in a little bit to this order block as well. But nonetheless, it hit this fair value gap. So anytime it returns to a fair value gap, you could classify that as an intermediate term high, or vice versa, intermediate term low, like here. Okay, fill the fair value gap, intermediate term low. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 shifts in market structure plus a bunch of lower highs. This long-term high, we had S&T divergence within a weekly fair value gap. Okay, there was this intermediate term low that ended up getting broken, which could have further amplified your trust in a bearish bias. Okay, because now we got multiple shifts, and your first target would have been, of course, these sell stops resting here from all the buyers that bought and were excited, right? And they moved their stop to there, boom, they got taken out. Also, this move right here was to take out anyone's stops as well, right? But yeah, price ended up eventually, as you can see, pushing into the daily fair value gap that we could see on Nasdaq here. Okay. There's also an order block as well, but as you can see, all that's getting disrespected. So any chance of bullishness, right, it's kind of thrown out the window right at this moment, right? We're not looking for bullish prices or bearish until something proves us otherwise. Okay. But yeah, so let me go back to the 1 hour. So yeah, in this consolidation, there was footprints that could have left us to thinking that bearishness could continue. Okay, and then of course you see DXY bullish. That also reinforces our confidence, right? Understanding how you label your structure based on what ICT's taught, that's very important, right? Because it helps you kind of navigate things and understand what you're looking at. Besides, I'm just looking to buy and sell. Like, that's fucking useless if you don't have these underlying pieces of information understood. Okay. Yeah, we also had this S&T here, like I stated, and then multiple shifts in market structure, one right here, one right here. When this broke, that was another shift in market structure, right? And this was also a shift. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 shifts in market structure. Okay. And then of course, like I said, these highs that were the lower highs, but they were also intermediate term highs as well because of the fair value gaps they were filling. Okay. So there's lots of things that led us to potentially thinking bearishness. This, consolidation over here, you can also see this as a big market maker sell model, right? Smart money reversals up here. Okay. The first leg, right? Second leg, smart money reversal. Okay. And then this drop here, this is the first sell leg here. Okay. One sell leg, it probably is going to have a pullback here. And then, if it's going to attack these lows next week, is going to be, when that should occur. Okay. But I'm bearish. Okay. So, this isn't investing advice or anything like that. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is, like I said, this is just my views on what I see and kind of like what's happened and how you could have potentially predicted or anticipated what was going to happen next while we were in this consolidation. Okay. One extra tip, right? When you're in consolidations, you want to find stop runs and use those, stop runs within the range that we're consolidating in to basically be a piece of your framework if you're looking for any opportunities, regardless of what model you're using. That's the mode that you want to be in. Okay, I'm looking for runs on highs or runs on lows and reversals coming from that, and then find your model within that. Okay. That's something that's really helped me out with consolidations and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, I think I've covered most of what I wanted to talk about here. Kind of gave you an overview of DXY and why things, what led to what's happening right now with DXY. And, on the contrary, what's happened in NASDAQ as well as a result. Okay. But yeah, so I think that's where I'm going to end the video. But yeah, if you guys, like always, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments. And if you could please, like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. It really helps the channel out. And I'm just really here to try to help people with, whatever I can with my perspective and reinforce what's being taught and just share, like I said, my perspective, because hard times are coming, like ICT said, and always says. The world we live in is completely changing. So, with that being said, you got to get around people that know what they're doing. You got to get around people that understand how they can, and how, or people that understand how they can help you, right? And then people that actually just want to help you, right? Because there's a lot of bullshit, a lot of bitch ass people in this fucking world. And we're definitely not trying to be one of those people, right? I just want to see everybody win, because I mean, to be honest, I could just sit and just, not have to do this, right? But I just feel like I have an obligation to help people, because it was a promise I made, right? But yeah, so like I said, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment box. Share this with your friends if you feel some of the content's been helpful. And if you guys like the content, please subscribe. Just engage with the channel, because it really helps it out. Helps me reach more people, and helps out with the algorithm to notice that we are providing actual value here. WMGFX. So yeah, with that being said, you guys, I hope you had a wonderful, safe week, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, peaceful weekend as well. And be prepared for next week, because of course, there's going to be more amazing trading occurring. So yeah, that being said, you guys, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.